A normal hot day in 2050 in Bhubaneswar will feel like today's extreme heat days. The frequency and intensity of heat waves is growing rapidly in India due to global warming. The number of extreme heat wave days were 188 in 2015, which increased to 554 in 2024, a threefold increase in a decade. The heat waves are now claiming thousands of lives, reducing productivity, and stressing our critical infrastructure sectors like electricity, water, and health. A similar trend is visible in Odisha. Since 2020, there has been a steep rise in extreme heat wave days in the state. Bhubaneswar, the capital city, experienced 17 consecutive days of extreme temperature above 40 degrees Celsius in 2024. Now, the most evident impact of heat waves is the growing air conditioning demand. In Bhubaneswar, between 2021 and 2023, air conditioning ownership in residential sector rose from just 6% to 15%, growing at 70% annually. In 2 years, the number of air conditioners in residential sector grew by 2.5 times. Cities, therefore, today are caught in a vicious cycle of heat and cooling. Rising temperature and humidity is leading to growing air conditioning demand, which is aggravating urban heat island effect and increasing greenhouse gas emissions. These, in turn, are making cities even hotter, increasing their reliance on air conditioning. We must break this cycle and transform how we cool cities and protect people from heat stress. I'm very happy to present today an integrated heat and cooling action plan, a framework developed by iFOREST to tackle two growing crises: rising heat stress and the explosion in air conditioning demand. The framework is developed around 5 pillars. The first pillar is to cool the city and reduce urban heat island effect. The second pillar is to build green and cool buildings and enhance indoor comfort. The third pillar is to provide access to affordable, efficient, and climate-friendly cooling technologies to all. The fourth pillar is to enhance heat resilience. And the last pillar is to adapt to heat. We use this framework to develop India's first integrated heat and cooling action plan for Bhubaneswar. Why Bhubaneswar? Simply because it is one of the most heat-stressed cities of India. If we use Indian Meteorological Department's feel-like index, which uses temperature and humidity to measure heat stress, then Bhubaneswar endured 232 days of heat and severe heat alerts in 2024. Heat stress now extends from February to October in the city. This heat stress in Bhubaneswar is because of climate change, but it is also because of urban heat island effect. Let's start with climate change. The long-term climate trend of Bhubaneswar shows that the temperature and humidity in the city is increasing steadily. Summer temperatures now are more than a degree above than what it used to be. Nighttime temperatures have also risen, but most importantly, the wet bulb temperature, a measure of heat and humidity together, have increased across all months. So climate change is playing an important role in increasing heat stress in the city. But as I said, there is also an impact of urban heat island effect. The surface temperature across different parts of Bhubaneswar vary by as much as 20 degrees during a typical hot day. This is the land surface temperature map of Bhubaneswar of 16th April 2024. And as you can see in this map, some parts of the city are as hot as 55 degrees Celsius and some are just 35 degrees Celsius. This 20-degree gap in temperature is because of the way we are urbanizing and motorizing. We can see the similar impact between Bhubaneswar and its surrounding rural areas. The temperature difference between Bhubaneswar and the surrounding rural areas is now as much as 2 to 5 degrees Celsius. Land use change is obviously playing a major role. The urbanization and concretization of Bhubaneswar has increased the local temperature. Between 2018 and 2024, Bhubaneswar's built-up area expanded by 23%, while vegetation fell by 10% and water bodies by a staggering 75%. So Bhubaneswar is reducing its green and blue infrastructure and increasing concrete and steel infrastructure. The impact of traffic is also quite visible. Study done by us clearly show that reducing traffic congestion will reduce local temperature by as much as half a degree Celsius. So what is the impact of heat stress on the city? Our estimates show that about 1/3 of Bhubaneswar workforce face wage loss of 20 to 30% because of heat stress. And the city as a whole cumulatively suffered an earning loss of 8.6% due to heat stress. These are significant losses. The impact of heat stress is also visible on electricity use. Cooling now accounts for a significant proportion of electricity consumption in Bhubaneswar. ACs account for 1/4 of residential and about half of commercial and institutional electricity consumption throughout the year. During summers, ACs account for 50% of residential and close to 85% of commercial and institutional electricity consumption. Just remember that the residential ownership of air conditioning in Bhubaneswar is just 15%. Still, they consume 1/4 of electricity that all houses consume in Bhubaneswar. So what is the future prognosis? We undertook an extensive modeling exercise to understand how the future is going to look like for Bhubaneswar. Under the intermediate climate scenario, the middle climate scenario, which is SSP2 4.5 scenario, a normal hot day in 2050 in Bhubaneswar will feel like today's extreme heat days. And an extreme heat day in 2050 will be 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius warmer than current extreme heat days. So the future is going to be far more hotter than what it is today. So what can Bhubaneswar do? What can Bhubaneswar do to break the vicious cycle of heat and cooling, protect the well-being of its people, and grow sustainably? To find that answer, we undertook an extensive modeling exercise. We modeled heat mitigation strategies in 2 clusters of the city. The first cluster was Saliasahi, a low-income cluster which has low-rise building and slums. And the second cluster is Janpat cluster, which is the commercial corridor of the city with taller buildings. And we modeled heat mitigation strategies ranging from blue and green infrastructure to roof modifications. What did we find? Our modeling results of Salia Shahi shows that roof modification, white paint, green roofs, solar PV, can significantly reduce surface temperatures. Overall, the average daily surface temperature reduced by as much as 2.4 degrees Celsius because of roof modifications in Salia Shahi. This is what the current scenario looks like, and this is what happens with roof modification in Salia Shahi. A significant cooling can be achieved through a green roof program in Bhubaneswar. Similarly, nature-based solutions like urban parks, water bodies, green medians in road also delivers significant local cooling. Our modeling result of Janpath shows that nature-based solution and climate-sensitive urban design can reduce daytime temperature by as much as 0.7 degrees Celsius. This is what Janpath looks like today. This is the heat map of Janpath. And this is what happens if we include nature-based solution and climate-sensitive urban design on this cluster. So overall, there is a lot that Bhubaneswar can do to cool the city. But there is also a lot that the city can do to reduce energy consumption in buildings and enhance indoor comfort. We undertook a modeling exercise to find out the impact of implementing energy conservation building code on a typical building in Bhubaneswar. And we found that the energy intensity can be reduced by as much as 10% by implementing energy conservation and sustainable building code, which is a code for commercial and institutional building, and Eco Divas Samhita, which is a code for residential building. Similarly, by enhancing appliance efficiency, Bhubaneswar can also significantly reduce energy consumption in buildings. For example, by replacing 3-star AC with 5-star AC, the energy consumption can be cut by as much as 8.5 to 11.6%. And by moving from 3-star AC to centralized cooling solutions like water-based chiller, will achieve even higher energy consumption savings. So there is a lot that city can do to cool the building and reduce its energy footprint. Overall, if we do nothing, then by 2050, the cooling electricity demand in city can grow by as much as 7.6 times from current levels. However, by implementing building codes, using efficient appliances, the electricity use and greenhouse gas emission can be cut by 44 to 67%. The most important news and the good news is that it is affordable. For a typical Bhubaneswar home, the payback period for such upgrades is currently just 6.5 to 8.5 years, which is likely to reduce further as technology costs decline. So our modeling exercise, our modeling study clearly show that there is a lot that the city can do affordably even in the current situation. It can cool the city by increasing greening. It can restore and enhance water bodies. It can launch a cool roof program. It can undertake climate-sensitive urban design. All these are affordable and doable solutions. Similarly, it can implement energy conservation building codes and strengthen its enforcement, which will cool the buildings, reduce their energy footprint, and enhance indoor comfort. It can provide sustainable cooling to all by promoting energy-efficient appliances and by installing district cooling centers in planned IT and commercial hubs. Similarly, it can launch a white roof program for low-income houses, which will cost just 33 crores, very affordable. It will also have to work to enhance heat resilience, which Bhubaneswar is already doing through its heat action plan, and adapt to heat by revising heat thresholds, by providing insurance to the vulnerable population, and by increasing awareness and capacity to implement an integrated heat and cooling action plan. India's first integrated heat and cooling action plan clearly shows that it is possible for cities to prepare for a heat and humid climate, protect the well-being of their citizens, and grow sustainably. Thank you very much.